so good, bro.
Nice,
Especially when you
nice.
eat at 9 p.m. Oh my god, it slaps. It was so good, bro. It felt like I was in a commercial. Okay. Anyway, back to the video. Dude, I should have recorded all that. Hello and welcome back to the sixth video, I think. Somewhere around there. Um, a video of the series. My name is Anton, as usual, and next to me I have Raj, as per usual. Raj, say hi.
Hello. Hi.
And today we will be covering how to organize and how to prepare your Onshape ecosystem for the build season. So right now, if I go into your team, right, so here's the homepage UI. If I go into your team right here, it's totally blank. What you so the ecosystem is kind of really layout sketch based. It's supposed to decrease the amount of time it takes for each document to load. Um, and there will be some new features that I will have to show you. So an example of this ecosystem is actually the 2024 to 2025 FRC uh, design project, I guess. We had one main folder where we stored all of our documents. So it was called Rescape 2024 or 2025. And if you click on it, you see a whole bunch of documents. The only documents that matter are the ones that I highlighted. And this is still not the best way to organize your documents. So I'll dive deeper into that later on. So as you see, we basically had a document for every single mechanism of the robot, right? We had one for the drive base, we had one for the intake, we also had one from the outtake, and then we had two other documents, one of which was for just for the layout sketches, and another one which is where we imported all the assemblies from these different documents and combined them into one assembly here. That is not I mean, it's like 85% correct. There are some things that we will have to do differently, which I will explain right now, real quick, with a quick demonstration. So, first off, what you need to do is you need to create. I'll just do it in my owned by me. You have to create a folder, and you can name it something like uh, the name of game, and then 2025 to 2026, and then you could do robot name, something like that. Um, this is what I do. There are lots of other ways that you can name it as well. So, um, cool. Now you have your main folder here. The very first document that you want to create is your layout sketch document. So you can quite literally just name this layout sketch. What you can actually do is you can do robot name and then layout sketch. You really want to make your naming scheme kind of very organized as well. So as you see, robot name and then colon, then layout sketch. It's just makes stuff a lot easier to move around and find stuff. So here is your layout sketch document. What you will probably end up doing is you will create another folder here and call it layout sketch. And then inside of this folder, you will of course have your layout sketch part studio. And inside of this part studio, you will have to create every single, like all of your layout sketches of your FTC bot will be inside of this part studio. So let's just say for now, I will just create a basic rectangle 1 by 10 that represents the side of my drive base, right? We will get back to this later, and I will call this side layout. Now that you have your layout sketch part studio, this is also where, if you remember, I don't know which video, but I mentioned how you can create very basic prototype parts in the layout when you're making layout sketches or after you're done making layout sketches. So literally just blocks representing U channels, right? You will make that prototype also in this part studio. And to assemble those prototype parts, you will need to create an assembly. So you can just rename this to prototype. Now, another thing you can do is instead of making your prototype parts in here, you can create them in a separate part studio. So part studio, I don't know why I named that part studio, prototype. And you can make them here. But now you're probably wondering, wait, hold up. I will not have any sketches here, right? All of my layout sketches are in the layout sketch part studio. So what? I'll have to just copy and paste them back here, like remake all of them? No. There's actually a tool called Derived in Onshape, which is basically the import feature in assembly, but for part studio. You should find this under the same dropdown as the planes kind of feature as well. So it looks like a little uh I don't know, I give up with geometry. It looks like an L back reflected over L prism with a little arrow. And if you click on that while you're in the prototype, and I highly recommend to follow along as well so you can just get some experience with it, you'll see it start getting mad at you because you haven't selected part studio. So if you click on this prompt right here, you'll see a similar prompt come up as the import prompt in assembly, right? So right now we are in the current document. As you can see, you see the layout sketch document, or the layout sketch part studio, sorry, and the specific sketches inside of that part studio. So I wanted the drive base, right? The side layout that I made for the drive base. I can click on that and name this layout sketches, right? And then press check mark. And now you have the same exact sketch in the same exact orientation as the sketches in the layout sketch part studio. Holy, that was a lot of sketches in that sentence. Now you can make your prototype parts in here. This could make it more organized, but totally up to you. So yeah, and then after you're done with all your parts here, you just import them into prototype assembly, and there you go. So keep derived in the back of your head. We're gonna get to that later on as well. So now if we go back to home in our little tabs manager right here, you should remember that we have assembly one. Rename this assembly to master assembly, because this is where you will actually be importing all of your separate assemblies from your other documents in, and then assembling them as a whole robot. So your whole robot will be represented in the master assembly. So if we go back to the 2024-2025 FRC season team, you should have noticed that we had a totally separate document for the whole assembly of the robot, so the master doc. It was not integrated with the layout sketch doc. After I went to Houston, I attended a conference for Onshape. They said that this was the best thing, so we're trying it out, right? So again, your whole robot should be assembled inside of this tab. Speaking of which, you can say layout sketch plus master, right? Again, the names are pretty flexible, so whatever makes sense. Cool. All right, I'm gonna make some very, very Ooga Booga Caveman layout sketches just to represent all like different parts of the robot. This isn't even a robot. I don't think this will work at all. So let's just say this is gonna be the intake, right? Pretty cool intake mechanism over here, kind of connecting back to the drive base like that, and then going like that. You can also just copy me if you want. This is just for demonstration purposes only. Don't actually do this with your layout sketches. Okay, so I made a very actually Raj did approve of it. He said this is a world material, so I would definitely jot this down and save this somewhere. But I made a very non-realistic representation of a robot, right? I made a dry base sketch, something that looks like that. I made an intake sketch, and I also made an outtake sketch. If you haven't done this, go ahead and do it now. It can be very simple as mine, even simpler. But just make sure you have dry base, intake, and outtake sketched out in 3 different sketch features. Okay, cool. So now we can go back out into our folder and start making the other documents. So the next document I will make will be robot name drive base. You can also rename it to DB. It's usually short for drive base. Then I will create robot name intake. And then I will also create robot name outtake. Raj, is outtake spelled with 2 T's or 1 T?
2 T's.
2 T's? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we made all of the separate documents for the different parts of our robot. Now what do we do? That's a great question. Let's go into Drybase and start organizing this. So you can rename the part studio to something like Drybase part studio or PS. Drybase is crazy. Drybase PS. And you can rename the assembly to Drybase assembly. So now we have a part studio here and assembly here, but again, we have no sketches. So no, you are not just going to copy off from the layout sketch doc. You will again use the derive tool because yes, derive tool works across documents, not just in the same document. Similar to how import in assembly works. So if you click on other documents and you go onto other documents, and you go onto created by me, and you go into layout sketch, it will prompt you this, so create a version robot name. Just click on create a version and don't name it v1, name it like drivebase doc, right? This will just create a version in the layout sketch document because it needs to have a version update so it can see everything you made inside of the layout sketch doc. So then I'll press enter. Now it's loading, and you should see the Drybase sketch appear. So to make the Drybase, I only need the Drybase sketch, right? So all I will do is press on the Drybase sketch and call this DB layout and press check mark. Okay, cool. But now a problem is that you can't assemble, right, in Part Studio. So in FR Studio, what would we do is we would actually start making parts in the Part Studio. But since for FTC everything is mostly assembly based, you can't really do much in the Part Studio, right? Apart if you're making custom parts. Okay, so you've imported in here, and the Part Studio is where you'll be creating the custom parts off the layout sketches. But again, you can't assemble, so what you have to do is you have to go into assembly, press insert, press other documents, and then find the layout sketch document. And then what you can do is you can now actually insert sketches into the assembly as well. So we're looking for the drive base. So I press the drive base, press check mark, and now you've imported a sketch into the assembly. Problem is that the sketch now can move. This is bad. The moment you import your sketch, you want to leave it. So see how I put my mouse over this prompt right here, and see how it kind of defaults to the position it is currently in the layout sketch doc. That is exactly how you want it to be, because if it moves, then your kind of synchronization across your documents will be a bit screwed up. So what I'll do now is, so I pressed on Drybase, I press on the green check mark, and I hover my mouse over the sketch. I don't drag it at all. I press right click and press fix. Now I cannot move my layout sketch accidentally. Okay, cool, but now what? Well, now what you can do is you can start importing your parts in the assembly, right? So I'll be using the insert tool, and I am looking for structure, and then we'll do channel Holy, this is slow. And then we'll do U channel. Oh my god. And then let's just do this one. All right. Now what you can do is you can actually start mating the stuff you've imported into the assembly to your sketches. So, let me fix this, like that. Bam. Pretty cool, right? And this is basically how you will be using layout sketches. You'll first probably have to start assembling and attaching mates to them. Now, I mentioned before that layout sketches are only 2D. So, I can't, to make the other side of my dry base, of course, there's going to be a space here, right? And I only represented it from the side view. This is why representing it from the front view is also a great idea, because then you can make the other U channel that you're putting on the other side of the dry base to the front view sketch over here, if that makes sense. So, yeah, pretty cool. And this is basically what you're going to be doing. Yeah, that's how you do it, right? And then we'll get into more intricate detail next video as well. All right, now let's go back to the home page. And now basically we're just gonna do this, like repeat that same process for all of these mechanisms, right? I will just do this. I'll take assemb, and let's just say rename. I'll take PS. It's literally the same exact process, so I'll probably just skip over this video, or I'll just fast forward it and put some jazz in the background or other music. But feel free to do it right now. I will just do it really quickly. So. Okay, so by now you should have imported everything, fixed everything in your assembly, and that type of stuff. Now, literally just import anything. You can either import it, but what I'll do is I'll actually show you how to properly make stuff in your part studio and then import it into your assembly without messing up the synchronization. So for the intake, let's just say I want it 1 inch deep, right? And I'll make it symmetric. What I'll do now is I will press the insert button, current document, and import my intake. Now, notice the same thing I did with the sketches. I'm just hovering over this prompt, and the extrude that I made fits exactly onto the sketch, right? It's exactly in the same spot that I want it to be. This is also what you want to do, right? But since you do have a sketch that's already fixed, and you know how you want to mate your part, because you've already made it in the part studio, right? You can just kind of just use a mate feature on this and call it a day. Or what you can also do, like here, for the mate feature, you would I'll just quickly do it. You would kind of try to select the middle of this part like that. Oh wait, no, I'll do that. Oh wait, no, I did select the wrong maze. There you go. Okay, like that, right, with the fasten mate. And then since we do want to use the group feature, what you can do is you can delete the fasten mate and then group group the sketch to the part, right? Or I could have skipped all of that fastening stuff because once I imported it in, you should notice that it already sits perfectly on the sketch. And now I can just press the group feature and group the intake sketch and the part and call it a day. Yeah, so pretty cool. And now I'll just quickly do these for all of the documents. I'll just make it 1 inch wide in the part studio. And in the dry base studio, delete the U channel. And then I'll show you how to actually, so yeah, do that for all the parts studio. So make the part, import it into the assembly, and then in dry base, delete the U channel. And then we'll go from there. Okay, so now you have all your parts, and of course this will probably just be, it's not gonna be like the parts I made. I did this because I want to show you guys something else. It'll probably just be the U channels, but it'll still work with the U channels or any other imported parts. But now what we're actually gonna do is we're gonna go back to the layout sketch and go into the master document or master assembly, sorry, and press the insert button and actually start to insert all of the assemblies from the different documents. Where did it, other documents recently opened. So I'll go in the dry base. Okay, so again, as you see here, we have to create a version in the dry base document in order for us to import all the parts. This is a very big thing in Onshape, especially if you're doing this type of ecosystem layout. Every single time you make a change to either a part in the part studio, or you change the length of a U channel, or you just add on stuff into your assembly. So literally any change that you make in your document, you'll have to make a version, so create a version. And then once you do that, you'll be able to view stuff in the master assembly, and you'll be able to import things from this document into the master assembly. So I would just name it something like, sure, draft. Make sure your names make sense, right? And you'll have to do this for every single document.
Does this type of version control allow you to like branch off and then combine back to the main branch as well, or
Yes.
is it just like creating a separate version?
It does actually. I haven't explored
Okay, that's pretty cool.
much with it yet, but I know how to make branches. So how you do that is you right click on a version and then you say branch to create workspace, and you'll be able to do something like idea blank, right? And now you'll be able to see that you can work in a branch and you can work in the main. This might be a great idea. So the one, I wouldn't use this for any of the mechanism documents. I would actually try to use this more for the layout sketch, because if we go back to the Reefscape document in the layout sketch, so this is the FRC one, we made a lot of architecture or archetypes, right? Well, I think we made about 8. So that's 8 different layout sketches of 8 different robots. And that was pretty hard, even with folders, to organize in the feature studio. So what I would have done instead is I would have probably made all of the game elements, right? I would have made the drive base, maybe not even, I would maybe make the drive base of the robot, But again, if your length does depend on the mechanism that you're using, I would honestly I would just make the game elements, and then I would make a version, and then off of that version, for every single layout sketch that you want to make of a new robot, I would branch out.
Sorry about that. Um, it kind of cut out for a moment. My Discord has been acting up a little bit.
All right, do you want me to repeat everything I said?
Yeah.
Okay, so for branching, I would low key only use it in the layout sketch document. Because going back to the FRC layout sketch document from a year ago, we made a lot of layout sketches of a lot of different robots. So about 8 full layout sketches of 8 different robots. And even with folders, that got really confusing to organize in the feature list or over here. So what I would have done is I would have instead, in my main, created the game elements, and the floor, and like maybe the drive base, but that also depends. And then I would have created a version to save all that to my main, and then off of that version, I would start branching out for every single layout sketch of every single robot, because that should make stuff more organized. Does that make sense?
How many like possible designs did you have?
8.
Got it. So that's quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, you guys might have less, might have more. I'm not too sure, but it's something to explore, definitely. Okay, back to here. So we ended off with making versions in every single document. So just v1 draft, and I will keep on doing that pretty quickly. I just have the intake left, I think. Yep. So intake, version, v1, draft, and there you go. Okay. So now that you've made versions in every single document, now you can actually go back to your layout sketch document and into your master assembly tab. And now you should be able to see all the different parts in the other documents. So if I go into recently opened, go into intake, go into assembly, you should see the intake assembly. Cool. And now if I go back and go into the outtake, you should see the outtake assembly, right? Now if I go back and go into the drive base, you should see the drive base assembly. And I click on that and then press check mark. Now, same thing goes for here. You don't want to start moving stuff right away. Fix something first, so like fix the drive base, and then just group it all, and there you go. So this is why it's important to assemble with your layout sketches. So you don't want to like have in your assembly your layout sketch over here, right? And then actually assemble your bot somewhere over there. Because when you start to put everything into your layout sketch in master, or into your master assembly inside the layout sketch document, stuff won't be lining up, and it'll just be a bit it'll be a bit of an organizational hassle to work with. Now going back to versions, I definitely do not recommend to create a version for like a very, very small tweak. Make versions whenever you feel like you've reached like a draft point in your robot, or like when you've made some significant change with your robot and you want to see how it all looks like as a whole. I think for one document in FRC last year, we had something like, I don't know, I want to say 180 versions, because we just kept making versions after small features.
Wow.
So you definitely
That's
do
a
not
lot.
want to
Yeah.
do that. Yeah, and it slowed us down a lot. So, yeah. Raj, do you have any questions at all, or any points of confusion?
No, I don't have anything.
Cool. So I would say that is it for this video. Next video we'll be covering, actually we'll start going to how to layout sketch all the different mechanisms in FTC, and should actually be a lot of fun. So yeah, thanks for watching.
Yeah, excited for that. See you guys.